Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Sacred Space. My name is Emily for those of you who are new to my channel, and for those of you who are regular viewers, welcome back. So each week I wanted to record a little how-to video for you guys, and I haven't actually chose a title for this video yet, so by the time you guys are watching there will be one. So you'll be able to find it in the title below, but I'm open to suggestions as well, because for this week I want to focus on the aftermath of a full moon. So I'm going to be talking about the 2 weeks between a full moon and a new moon and how you can best use that time. For me, learning how to work with the moon cycle definitely revolutionized my life, because it meant that I could improve my self-care routine. I could go with the flow a lot better. It's like sometimes a moon phase will want us to kind of slow down and retreat, but we're going against the flow, and you can see how frustrating that is going to be. So just being aware of how to use the 2 weeks after a full moon to work with the moon, then we can just be much more productive as we try and achieve our goals. So as you guys know, we started this week with a full moon in Pisces. Pisces energy is all about imagination, creativity. It can be a very emotional sign, and full moons kind of bring everything to the surface. But the shadow side of that can be maybe addiction or overthinking. And the way I want you to visualize a full moon is like a harvest. So you've got this field full of crops, and the full moon just harvests all of those crops. However, you've not yet organized these crops into the good and the bad. So the full moon just brings everything to the surface, and then now we use the next 2 weeks to start organizing our crops. So as you guys can see here, we start with the full moon, and then over the next 2 weeks, the moon gradually becomes darker and darker until we achieve the new moon phase. So this takes about 2 weeks, and this phase is called the waning phase. So after the full moon, like I said, things become darker and darker, and this means it's a chance for us to go within, to reflect, and there's a lot that we can do in this next 2 weeks, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to go into details about what routines and rituals that you can use for the next 2 weeks and what this moon phase is all about. So what is the waning moon all about? The waning moon is about rest, an opportunity to slow down, to relax, to release, to connect deeper with yourself. And it's also an opportunity to really make space for what you want to plant seeds for in the future. So here are my tips on what you can do to make sure that you get the most out of the next 2 weeks. Okay, here is tip number 1. The first thing you want to do after a full moon during the waning moon phase is to have a good clear out of your space. This means tidy up and get rid of unwanted items. This means going around and getting organized in your home. Now, at first, this might seem a little bit overwhelming. Just know that as you do this with every single moon cycle, it gets easier and easier. So you may want to go around every room in your house with a big bin bag, throw away anything that you don't want, clear up any rubbish. You can also start to organize things so that you can take it to charity or donate it. Anything that you don't love. This is the perfect time for you to just make sure that your space is nice and clear and the energy is able to flow. This is going to help the energy start to flow much better in your environment. And this will also mean that clarity can start to come in. So yeah, clear out the clutter, get rid of unwanted items, and then you want to open the windows and you want to start cleansing your space. And you want to get yourself some sage or some Palo Santo like this. So to do this, if you don't know already, you're going to light whichever one you choose, and once it's burning nicely, just blow the flame out and use the smoke from either of these to just cleanse the space in your house. And you want to go around all your rooms and just make sure that you give them a good smudge, making sure that the windows or doors are open as you do this. Tip number 2, create a sacred space. So now that you've cleared out the clutter and got rid of any old and unwanted energy, it is the perfect time for you to make your environment what you want. because for 2 weeks after a full moon are all about kind of slowing down and connecting with yourself. So the first thing I would do is get yourself some candles. I love candles. So you might want to have a candle in each room. And just whenever you kind of sit down and relax in that room, go and light the candle, or maybe incense burner, oil burners, wax melts, whatever makes you feel kind of like relaxed and comfortable. Another thing to do is use essential oils. So I love working with essential oils. I've got my tin here. You do not have to have these many at all. I like making things with mine, like I like making my own candles and soaps, and oil mixes, oil blends. Pick some essential oils which you really enjoy the smell of, or maybe work with the intention that you have, and you can make things with these. So I'm going to show you the book that I use. So this has literally every smell you could possibly want, and it tells you really good kind of elixirs, so room sprays. It gives you kind of essential oil massage oils that you might want to create. But you know, as you're trying to relax and create this sacred space, whether you choose to spray the oils around your space or use them on your body, it's a really, really nice way to connect with yourself during the waning moon, because it's like an A to Z encyclopedia on every possible scent that you could imagine, and it tells you what it's good for. And then you have recipes here for like all different intentions, for room sprays, massage blends, oil blends to burn. So whatever it is that you want to set intentions for, I think it's really nice to mix up your own oil blends. So essential oils are really going to help create that nice environment, whether you choose to use them as room sprays, or whether you want to use them as massage oils for yourself. You can mix up some really nice essential oil, massage oil, and you know, you can put it on your wrists or your temples. You know, there's so many different things that you can do. And if you're like me and you enjoy being creative, especially in the periods of kind of stillness and slowness, then you may even choose to make some homemade soaps. So you can get some molds online, really, really cheap. And it may seem difficult at first, but honestly, as soon as you start, you'll realize how easy soap making actually is. So yeah, you know, these are ones which I've made in the past. Just using the essential oils so that when I have my bath or my shower, I can use my homemade soaps which have the essential oils of the scents which I want to work with. The final thing that I would do to create a sacred space in my home is add crystals. So because the waning moon is all about relaxing and reflecting, you know, crystals such as blue calcite like this one is really good because it brings that tranquil energy. However, let's say the full moon has brought in all these crops and you're now looking at the pile of crops you've got and you're realizing there's a lot here that I want to let go of and definitely don't want to keep. So in that case, you might want to get yourself something like lepidolite, which helps with anxiety and letting go. Maybe some obsidian. You know, whatever it is that you feel you need, find the right crystals for your intention and just put them in your space. Or you can choose to carry them with you if you want to work with tumblestones. It's completely up to you, but I love setting up, you know, a crystal grid during the waning moon phase. Tip number 3. Now this one is a really important one. Tip number 3 is reflect on the last moon cycle. So this one is really important. For us to get the most out of the last moon cycle and this waning moon phase, we have to spend some time reflecting. When I say reflect on the last moon cycle, I mean focus on everything that you've achieved, everything that you've accomplished. You know, yes, you've harvested so much, and this is a good time to reflect on what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. Whether you choose to kind of just journal or meditate, it doesn't matter, but it's so important that you do that reflection because it means that you can start to decide what you want to keep from your harvest. We may just focus on the negatives, whereas if we focus on what we achieved and what succeeded, we can start to be more grateful, and gratitude always helps us align with a higher vibration. So when you are doing your reflective work, you may want to use tarot. You might want to find your favorite tarot deck and use this because it's a wonderful tool for reflection and self-discovery. You might have an oracle deck instead that you like to work with. And you may also want to get your favorite journal, or if you're like me, you might want to create a different journal just for your waning moon reflections. I like to keep all of my different journals organized. And in your journal, you can just have a good reflection on what happened during the last moon cycle. What is it that you achieved? What is it that maybe didn't go to plan? Get it all down on paper because it's going to help you as we move on to tip number 4 and we start to work through everything that we are reflecting on. And finally, we have tip number 4. Letting go of our blocks. So now that you've cleared your space, you've created your own sacred space, and you've done some reflecting, you will have identified, what healing has come to the surface, what blocks there were in the last moon cycle. And this is the perfect time to make a bit of an action plan about how are you going to let go of those blocks, or, how are you going to work through your healing, and what it is that we are ready to let go of. If this is difficult, again, you may want to work with tarot for this. So I always find that using my tarot deck to kind of dig a bit deeper with my blocks is really, really useful. But it's completely up to you how you do this. Because each moon cycle brings these blocks to the surface, it's really important that we use the waning moon phase to start releasing them and, kind of connecting deeper with ourselves. Lots of people try to release with a full moon, but as I said earlier, full moon is more a time of harvesting all of the crops that you've planted previously, and the waning moon phase is where we start to work through these crops and decide what we're keeping and what we're letting go of. It's important that you let go of them. So creating a bit of an action plan here, or just maybe doing like a little releasing ritual, like a burning ritual where you write down what you want to let go of and set fire to it. That could help, but just find whatever works for you to start kind of releasing these blocks and making sure that you're working through your healing. There are my few tips on what you can do after a full moon. So I hope you all enjoyed my tips on what to do after a full moon. I do think it's really important to use this 2 weeks to slow down and, work on releasing and letting go, because it's the perfect time to do it. And you'll find that as you start to incorporate this a lot more into your routine, you just experience much more harmony in your life. I actually love to use this phase to kind of plan my next step so that when the time comes, I'm ready to take action. It's also a very creative and dreamy time for me. So it's a good opportunity to kind of think about your goals, connect with your dreams, and just making sure that you are embracing that creative energy that exists within you. I hope you enjoyed this how-to video. Let me know in the comments anything new that you learned. And if you guys have your own waning moon rituals, then do let me know as well, because I love hearing about what other people do. I will see you back here next week with our next how-to video. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this one.